game ready, steady aim at the target. I'm flooding the market, a break from the garbage. An artist, sensitive about mind pardon. No margin for error, flawless be bearer. The black cat goddess, you walking with a panther. Painting these pictures with words like...
Hey, it's your girl, Madam Money, aka Trap, and welcome to the official Salt in the Game album review of Reasons New Beginnings. Make sure you hit that like button, make sure you hit that subscribe button, and let's get it. Now, before this album even dropped, people was throwing, like, just side comments and stuff out there because, you know, why aren't we getting somebody else from TDE to drop before Reason? Like, let this man breathe. We're gonna see a couple other reasons in here too why I should be letting him breathe, but let the man breathe. Like, this is his debut album. You feel me? He has a lot of feature work out there. I ain't really too familiar with Reason, but I ain't mad at him from some of the things I have heard in the past. I know not too long ago, maybe, you know, a year or two ago, he dropped a mixtape that, you know, everybody was feeling in the moment and stuff like that. But let's get into this right here. It opens up with a track called Something More, and it's very introspective. Before I start this again, too, I wanted to note that we know TDE, they have a sound, they have a style that come along with being an artist on that label or that deals with them. So I wanted to see, was he going to go with that same formula, or was he going to deviate from that formula at all any on here? And he kind of went along with the formula, which, you know, these first couple of tracks on here, I don't really think I could appreciate, you know, like how I should, because it just had this total TDE sound, which is too reminiscent of other artists on that label that, like, we deal with all the time and stuff. So I just want to throw that out there before that, because some of these things, like rereading it over here, you know, it's kind of hard on Sun, and I don't really want to come across as that, because I do admire his style and what he brings to the table. Like I said, this first track, Something More, is very introspective. He talk about how far he's come along in the game and stuff like that. I could appreciate somebody letting you know, putting that out there as the first track, just letting you know, listen, I worked hard for this. I'm here now. This is what I'm about to be on. The next track on here is Stories I Forgot, and like, just off the immediate rip, I put on there, it reminds me of Schoolboy Q. All right, just to have the next track on there called Pop Shit features Schoolboy Q. So I was like, I don't know what's really going on here. It's just like, you know, I'm not catching him yet in these first 3 tracks on here. The next track on here is called Showstop, and now it's like, damn, he sounds like baby Kendrick Lamar, even the sound and everything over that. So some of these things I really couldn't get over, because I started comparing him to other artists at the label. And I just, you know, I wanted to see what Reason was about. If this is his debut, I wanted it to be just a little bit more him, and who knows, you know, this may be him cut and dry all the way through, that he takes his influences from the people that's around him. But, you know, the first couple of tracks on here were just reminiscent of other artists on that label, and I had a hard time getting over that. The next track on here, Favorite Nigga, that was cool or whatever have you. He has a track on here with Rhapsody called I Can Make It. I did like Rhapsody's verse on here. This is a very hard verse up here, and everybody should at least be familiar with this, because this is one of the better verses of this year. I'm gonna just tell you that shit right now. I could make it dance, but I'd rather show my ass through these bars and get a band and band together. And then she goes along, you know, getting very political and revolutionary as it comes down to it. But I like that she plays into the fact that we say that, you know, she's not this type of artist that comes across with, you know, more upbeat and more type of, like, you know, what happens in the game, which is, you know, sex sells and all these things like that. And she says, you know, I could make it dance, I could do that, but I'd rather show my ass in these bars. That's something that, you know, a lot of these other female artists that are, you know, more mainstream or get more notoriety or sell more records, they can't say a line like that. So I really did appreciate that. And it actually plays into the next track coming up. And, like, once I seen what was happening here, I'm like, it's these things, it's like, every other track is a sneak peek to the next track. And I try to put it into that type of perspective coming along here, because the content was very if the sound wasn't right there with it, the content was playing into the next track. I don't know if y'all picked that up or not. But this track, Fall. Now this is a track that came underneath some controversy, because his whole verse on here, and I'm not gonna spit all these bars, whatever have you, because his whole verse actually explains, talks about being in the game, and it talks about being a female in the game, and how you're supposed to, have sex appeal and stuff like that. All those things that people try to throw on an artist like Rhapsody, who was on the track before that. He plays into all of that on this track, Fall. And then like the second half of that is from like the male perspective, and how they want you to be nice, and they try to drug you up, and they do all of this stuff, and he ended off with they want you to be successful as Mac Miller, but don't, you feel me, let what happened to Mac Miller happen to you. And everybody freaked out because he used Mac Miller's name. Now, what I don't get here, right, because this track is very, very powerful, and this is one of the tracks where I got to see who Reason really is, right? I don't understand how we can't comment on things that have happened in the culture, negative things that have happened in the culture, so that people don't make that same mistake, or if they was oblivious to what's going on, they don't make that same mistake. Or if an artist is telling you he's aware that these things are happening, to try to make sure that it doesn't happen to him, and somebody stepping in and intervene. Why do we have to take everything and try to put some semi beef into it, or try to put these things into it that's like non-existent? The fact of the matter is, Mac Miller, he overdosed. You feel me? That's something that he was dealing with, and if he had stronger people around him, maybe he would not have been dealing with it, but maybe he would. Like, everybody have these preconceived notions when it comes down to drug addiction, but meanwhile we joke about any other artist that's actually in our community, and we'll never intervene and try to stick up for them and try to stand up for them in this respect. So how come when it comes down to somebody like Mac Miller, he can't be spoken ill about, when we talk about like ODB's drug habits, and even like a Bobby Brown, or with anybody else who's impactful in our culture? Y'all sit here, y'all crack jokes about this shit day in and day out, but somebody chooses to take the time out to highlight it and just say, don't let it happen to me as an artist, and as an artist, make sure it don't happen to you. Y'all want to try to put some type of, negative connotations on it, instead of just saying, what, he's right. Like, he's right. You can't knock him for getting his point across, how he got it across. Oh, he could have did that without saying Mac Miller's name. No, the fuck he couldn't have. Who in recent events, an artist that everybody seemed to love and respect, OD'd other than Mac Miller? Even though we see every other artist going down that same path. It's like, damn, this nigga need to get off the drugs. Like, damn, like, you know what I mean? We say that about them, but then we don't hesitate to throw them right underneath the bus if they come out and do something. I don't hesitate to make these dumbass tweets, you feel me, talking about their lack of sobriety or anything they on. Like, it kind of made me think about Lil Wayne in respect to how everybody clowns him about his excessive drug use, and he's gonna die soon, and his hair is falling out. And y'all would sit there and do that. Somebody who was like top tier lyrics, when it comes down to lyrics, when it comes down to album sales, you can't knock anything he did. But we sit there and we would disrespect Lil Wayne all day and tomorrow. But because he didn't pass away, that's fine. But as soon as he's passed away, it's not fine to do. Maybe we shouldn't be doing it while they're around too. And maybe we should be trying to intervene and, you know what I mean, come in the mix with some of this stuff. I found it really, really funny that Mac Miller's fan base would choose to do that shit. And it's like, I think y'all going down a similar fate as him, and don't want that shit brung to your attention. That's something that y'all out here doing, that y'all choosing to cope and use drugs as a coping mechanism, because I really couldn't understand why was this such a problem. Like I didn't get it. I thought it was a real thought out process, and the whole scheme of the whole song is just telling you, watch out for these little pitfalls in the game. And basically, if you see me going down that same road, step in and intervene, because I don't need all these people around me just saying yes, 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 while they see me steadily declining. And that's what happened in Mac Miller's case. So, you feel me? Very, very important track. Like, dog, y'all gotta stop being so sensitive when y'all not really sensitive. You're fake sensitive, fake sensitivity. For real though, because every day I just sit there and motherfucking play the addicts of the game. Y'all play them. Y'all joke about them. We just went through an instance with Chadwick Boseman that, everybody felt bad that we was talking about his weight loss and attributed to this and attributed to that, and realized he was really sick. So these is one of these same notions where it's like, yo, dog, y'all don't have no real reverence for nobody. I don't have no type of respect for nobody. But I've just found it really odd that they chose, Mac Miller to get up in the air about, when that's a real life thing that happened to son. That's what happened to him, and Reason chose to use him as a cultural direct influence for you to grasp what the fuck he's saying. Leave son alone, dog. You feel me? Go outside and help somebody. Stop trying to knock these people all the time. You feel me? Everything ain't about throwing salt in the game. You heard? Next track on here, Slow Down, featuring Almeida. Nice track. Flick It Up, featuring Ab-Soul. I want to say that on this too, because it's like Flick It Up with Ab-Soul, Sauce featuring Vince Staples, Extinct featuring Isaiah Rashid and J.I.D. I want to say too, when it came down to the features on here, that majority of the features on here actually did outshine Reason a little bit. So Reason, you got to be a little bit more careful, because like I said, I'm still trying to find your whole lane in this thing and who you really are, standing against the production on here and some of the features that was on here. But it was a dope project overall. West Side, Gossip, Windows Cry. That was a strong way to end the project off. But I'm not mad at this at all. If this is your debut project and you put your time into putting out something like that, and you did get some attention off of just speaking your mind of, like, what I would say was like one of the most you tracks on here, then you did what you were supposed to do. This is what you're supposed to do. So I'll be really excited to see anything else coming on from Reason. He probably drops next year. Hopefully he gets into the motion of all of this stuff and he don't get deterred from speaking his mind just because a couple of people can't handle that they favorite, one of their favorite rap stars happened to be a drug addict that OD'd. That's just the reality of it. But let me know how you feel about this album. Let me know how you feel about the controversy behind the album. Do you think Reason took the right approach in trying to get his point across when it comes down to something like what the labels do to artists in the game and get you all drugged up and stuff like that? It's funny because I had asked a timeline about what's the craziest rumor in hip hop you ever heard, and one of these things was, BG was a heroin addict and that Birdman gave it to him to like, keep him in line when it came down to all of these stuff. So it's like, dog, it's, I don't know, man, it's crazy, because I kind of felt like that with Birdman and Wayne. Like, you would sit there, somebody you call your son, you would keep them drugged up and doped up just so that you could be stealing their money from them. So some shit like this is really, really important. That track 4 is really, really important, and it needed to be said. But let me know how you feel about the album. I'm gonna get out of here. Dog, it's crazy because I really, really just can't get over the fact that y'all try to, like, I don't know if they took one of the tracks off iTunes. You couldn't listen to it because it had caused a problem. I know I heard this in its entirety, but just let me know how you feel about this album. What's your favorite tracks on there? What's your favorite feature? Are you excited to see another project from Reason? And how do you feel about him speaking out, just on the ills of the game? I'm Madam Money. You can follow me on Twitter at Madam Money Says. That's MADAMMONEYSAYS on Twitter and IG. But dog, I'm about to get out of here. You gotta really, really stop and think about what y'all do on a day-to-day basis. You feel me, when it comes down to some of this stuff, because everything ain't just like a slight or disrespect. You know what I mean? Like, and even if it is, sometimes you might have to get disrespectful just for niggas to understand what's really going on. Peace.
HG unleash that. He's back. You don't know where my peeps at. I keep that heat that'll light your soul up. Talking about Kundalini, this the glow up.
This is opulence.